Welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm Yvie Jones. One of the other girls today is Pia Miranda. I was going to give you the huge, but you know what? I just have to get into it straight away.
That came in quick.
Pia Miranda, I just found her down in the what is it? Parking lot.
Parking lot. I was putting on lip gloss.
And I was shoving a banh mi in my face. We found each other across a parked... I got out and just stood in front of your car, didn't I?
Actually.
Until you noticed
and
me.
I went, oh,
like a creeper.
Just doing emails.
Imagine if I'd come up to... I hate people that do that. But I have... broken, severed nerves. Like I've done all of my adrenals from my brother scaring the shit out of me as a kid, that now I'm just like
I'm easily frightened, and I do that to my son. I scare him a lot. I hide in cupboards and
it's fun.
I jump out.
Do you know,
it's
I have
so good.
A friend, I've worked with a woman, she had 5 children, and she would say to me, You've got to have fun as a parent, because if you haven't put them in therapy by the time they're 25, then really, what are you having them for? You got to scare them. You got to get. She said she said me and my sister, we were so broke, single mums with like probably 2 kids at the time, and a bunny running around in the backyard. They just used to drink goon, and one day her and her sister were eating chocolate-covered peanuts, and the little girl goes, what is that? What are you eating? And she goes, we're eating the bunny's poo. Here, have one. She goes, no. So they held her down and forced her to have one, and she was like, if you can't traumatise your own kids, then what are you doing?
The best people are kind of a little bit broken. Yeah, that's what I think.
That's
so
right.
You're doing them a favour by traumatising them just enough.
That's just
to
enough.
Keep them on track.
Because, there's way worse, kiddo.
Exactly.
So you've got 2 kids.
I do.
And your husband was a rock star. Is the rock star still a rock star?
No, he just sort of works. He works in TV, actually.
Does he?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's a bit of a place where rock stars tend to go when they're done with rock star life.
Yeah,
so
or into record industries.
Exactly.
And I'm so glad he didn't do that, because they're wankers.
Exactly.
And
he's not. So a lot of musos are in sound in TV. So he's worked for a long time on MasterChef and, places like that.
Have you ever worked with him on anything?
Never. He's never worked in drama or comedy. We've never worked together. He just recently worked with my best friend Janine on a show with Gordon Ramsay. So that was nice.
Yeah.
That was together. I was a little jealous.
Did you know Janine before Survivor?
No.
So you've become friends since then.
Yeah.
I was on radio at the time and I didn't get to interview you, but I interviewed her. Mm-hmm. I think it was just that crossover as Fifi was coming back to Fox and I was leaving. And she was so nice and just so down to earth, salt of the earth kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful... not only did you win that Survivor,
yes,
but you won a soulmate.
$1 million friendship.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, like I always say, I won $500,000 but the friendship seems like more than $500,000.
Priceless.
Yeah, that's priceless.
And have you ever pitched a shark story to her?
No.
Shark story, Shark Tank?
She knows I'm not that. Yeah. I'm not that business minded.
You're creative.
Yeah, she's the brains, and when we were on Survivor, she was sort of the brains and I was the one who went around and just sort of charmed everyone superficially, like a true psychopath.
Yeah, that's how
and then would go back and report to her. It was a beautiful friendship and working relationship.
Oh, because, I really hoped you would win that, and I remember DMing you at the time and say, I reckon you're going to win, and you winked, but then went, did the emoji of, I don't know kind of thing, and I'm like... I know she's not giving anything away, because I would do that as well. I just wink and go, you never know.
I was really scared because when I came out, you're not mentally quite in the same place that you went in. And I had this terrible fear, I remember, because it was one of those rare ones where where we shot straight afterwards, we shot the winner, where often it happens months later.
Yes.
Because they were doing an All-Stars. And I had this weird paranoia that if anyone found out I'd won, I wouldn't get my money.
Really?
It's this weird thing in my brain.
That was in your contract.
Tell my mum. I didn't even tell my mum that I won. I was just... Which was great in the end, because we had a wonderful night.
Yes. And did they expect it?
Well...
Because they know you, they would, but...
Yeah, I think Mum... We had a little party. It was actually my sister's 50th birthday. So in true little sister style, I kind of made her birthday about me.
You, yeah.
But we had a beautiful dinner at her house and we all watched it with my nephews who were grown, and my kids knew I won because they were there. And once I got to, because I used to be a debater when I was young, so once I got to that final 3 spot, as soon as Mum knew that I got to argue my point, she looked at me and went, oh. She was quite proud of me for not telling her, but she went, I can't believe you've won. And I went, it hasn't happened yet. She went, oh my God.
That was such a serious look. Yeah. Oh, and so one of my questions, you've just done Dancing with the Stars, and did you love it?
I did. I did.
Like, were you really in pain?
I didn't find it too hard. It's a funny experience because with my Survivor experience, that was, really a 20-year obsession. To say that I was obsessed with that is an understatement. I'd wanted to play it since
They're my favourite Survivor players, by the way. My favourite. Like George, like anyone
obsessed.
that, like Nick Iordanza, like people who are so obsessed. Yeah. These are the people I want to see play.
Yeah, and it was such a bucket list thing for me to do, and I was so obsessed with winning because I just thought I'm not going to go out there after obsessing for 20 years and not try and win.
Yeah.
Whereas like something like Dancing with the Stars, I could just really go and enjoy the experience. Yeah. And as much as I really wanted to do well for my charity, I just could enjoy it on a different level. So it was really nice. And I think the thing that I love about doing those sorts of shows is just the people you meet that you would never come across in real life.
Well, in the talent world, you mean? Like, people you work with that you would never work with as an actress.
Exactly. So some of the dancers, some of the celebrities that I would never have gotten to know, and you always walk away with a couple of great friendships.
Yeah. That's what I love about the celebrity reality shows. Yeah. I mean, and not just that, but it's nice to see, I did The Jungle, and it was nice to see other people that know what you're going through and know what's, and I got a big shock. Like, we got first in from Gogglebox, so we hadn't done anything before. So we got that kind of, when we left The Jungle, we thought everyone was just going to play Happy Family still, and then everyone went back to their lives, and we're like, oh.
That is strange. Did you take any good friendships away from that?
Richard Reed still,
There's always one or
There's
two.
always one. It's just, it's just a what, but what about reality? Like, why did you start doing reality as you're a serious actress?
Yeah, I think as you get older, I think I had to reassess where I was, and I think just because Survivor just came up, because I'd spoken about it in an interview, and then they approached me because I said,
so that was your first reality?
That was my first reality, and I hadn't really thought about doing reality. I think it
wasn't to you because it was your obsession.
Yeah, so I think for me, when Survivor came up and then I said yes, that opened up some new doors for me when people went, well, she's actually, willing to try new things. And as I got older, I realised that there are less roles for women of my age in my industry, and so it's good to kind of keep that career path wide now, I think, and to reinvent yourself as a woman in her 50s, and to try new things, and to not have that career path be so narrow anymore has been very freeing for me.
Good.
It's been nice, and I feel like I don't feel like a slave to waiting for my agent to ring, which happens a lot when you're a young actor.
Yeah.
You really sit there and stare at the phone for many months. So,
and you really have to have good people around you, because you'd just be so, like, you'd feel like such a rejected loser so often. And there's no other industry like that.
No. And
that tells you no that often, and you keep going back for more.
It is. You've got friends who are actors, so and it can be really tough, and sometimes you're fine with it, and sometimes, especially if you are at a point where financially not doing great, that's when it really hurts. And so for me, I think that the world has changed a little bit in a way that we don't expect actors to just be actors. We're really forgiving of them doing other things.
Yes.
And that's been nice for me. And it's nice to see my friends go down that path as well. I had some great actors on Dancing with the Stars with me. It's just nice for us to do a whole bunch of things.
Yes.
And it's fun.
And Virginia Gay.
What a dreamboat.
What? Oh, my God. Heaven.
I know.
I adore her.
Yeah, she's fabulous.
I want to have her on the show as well here. She's like you, just this warmth of sunshine, like, and really comes across on screen, and you're the same. Can I just fangirl you for a moment? Yeah. Like, Looking for Alibrandi, everyone absolutely adores. But I really liked the character you played in The Time of Our Lives.
So many people are obsessed with that character.
I love her she's so
awful.
weird, so weirdly awful. And you did such a great job. Because you're just not like that at all. But Jodie Spiteri.
Oh, poor Jodie.
And I text you because it's taken me so long. I still haven't finished Wentworth because it's just so...
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And
it's heavy.
And I must be an empath because I take it in when I'm watching shit.
Yeah, I do too.
And it's like my friends will say, "You're watching a bad TV show, aren't you?" And I'm like, I am. Or they'll be like, "You're watching a Scottish show." And I'm like, well, I am. Because you're just busting out into Scottish accent constantly. And so with the Jodie stuff, I DM'd you as well.
Yeah,
you went, "Oh, poor Jodie."
Poor
The way you said it.
She was not cut out for prison. She was not cut out for prison. Remember we met each other just after that at the Logies and I ran up to you because I was a bit fangirly as well and we had that chat. And I was all glammed up. Like, poor
Jodie. She was because she poked her over an eye. It was a horrendous storyline, and just what I loved about Jodie so much, that storyline, and you did such a great job. I was like, God, you must have been exhausted because you cried so often.
I had a baby actually at the time, so that was easy because I was tired.
Yes,
and my hormones were all going everywhere, and
you would be kind of like, give me a bit of post, give me a bit of depression here and there. I could work with this.
Yeah.
But that she was whenever I watch prison, I love prison shows. Have you ever watched Oz?
Oh, I love that show.
Do you know that was the very first HBO show ever?
Was it?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I love telling people that.
I did not know that.
Yes, it was.
That was a really good show.
How many people have come from that show?
So many.
So many amazing actors. But I was obsessed. That's where my friends would start. I would go to the DVD shop and
Oz.
Yeah, and get it over and over. And people would go, "You've got to stop watching that Prison Man's show." And I'm like, well, there's a lot of naked men and I love it. And they're like, yeah, but you're getting really paranoid.
But it is a bit sexy as well,
So
just when you have a whole bunch of people just locked in an environment. My Nana and I used to watch Prisoner together. So Nana and I loved Prisoner and Carson's Law.
I love that your Nana let you watch Prisoner.
I say that to people now.
My mum did too.
It was great.
Because we're the same age. So you clearly were in the 70s watching this. Me too.
Mm-hmm, quite young. And Nana and I used to love it and have a cup of tea. And so she'd passed by the time I started Wentworth, but I was so sad because I thought she would have been so excited.
Oh, she was watching.
I hope so.
Oh my God, she was watching you put that pencil in my eye. Oh, I tell you, but when the worst part for me of prison is the isolation wings or whatever they call them. You're going to the hole.
I went to the hole in Wentworth,
and it makes you go insane. And I just think, while you're watching it, I could do that. You know how you do? You watch shows like Survivor, shows like The Jungle, anything.
When
and
you can do it.
Yeah, while you're eating a pizza, you're like, God, how hungry can you be, really? And then were you in Survivor, do they really not give much food?
Oh, no, there's not food.
Because you all lose so much weight.
The worst thing about it was that it's not your body's fine. It's the mental gymnastics of obsessing about food. All we talked about.
Yes.
I don't know how they made a show because it was literally just people sitting around going, okay, you've got $20.
Yes.
You walk into Coles. What are you going to get?
Yes.
I'd be like, rotisserie chicken. That's $6.
Exactly the same. We'd all be lying as having rest because we're also weak, and then we'd go, what about Betty's Burgers? Have you had? And someone else would go, have you ever had anything but the bagel? Because they do this in America, this one seasoning, and then they would tell you exactly the ingredients.
What was on it? Did they give you much food on?
No, we got
a Celebrity?
500 calories a day, and we had to win the rest.
Okay, that's
and it wasn't much. It was so we would get really excited to eat like a sheep's ball.
That's awful. How long is it?
4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
How long's Survivor?
If you last the whole journey, it's 7. 7 weeks.
Jesus, and that's really in the elements too.
It's in the elements,
and you poo in the bush.
You just poo and wee wherever you can, and there's some
anyway.
diarrhea that happens,
God.
in inopportune moments, and when you've had diarrhea in the bush whilst staring at one of your friends and you're both having diarrhea, it's a very bonding experience.
Yeah.
You're
Well, no
friends
wonder
for
you and
life.
Janine are friends for life. But I can't believe, like, I will shit in front of my friends anyway, whatever. But did this happen in the jungle in Survivor for us in the jungle after about a week and a half, your poos and wees, they don't smell anymore because you're just eating clean.
Yes.
Like, there's no coffee.
My teeth, everyone's like, how did you not? Did you get toothbrushes?
We
there?
did, yeah.
Oh, so we didn't get toothbrushes, so you could use the charcoal, but you weren't eating anything bad, so my teeth were so white.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel the need to brush my teeth.
Isn't that amazing? Well, we were clean. Like, once we were just eating fruit and veg and carbs. The only carbs we had were oats and beans.
Nice.
And then Catherine Kelly Lang, who's Brooke from...
I know who she is.
Okay, good. Love Bold and the Beautiful. Good. Thank you. My mother will be very happy about that. She came in after week 2 and she's from LA and she eats... Well, she thinks clean and she would eat clean as far as clean living goes. We were like, oh, fuck. The long chop and short chop because we have to empty them every day.
No.
But after a while, our wheeze and poos didn't smell anymore because we were...
She came in with her
she
stinky
came
plain food poo.
Yeah, all of a sudden, we could smell methane and ammonia again. We were like, oh, wow. And she was mortified because I'm like, you stink. She's like, no, I don't. I eat really healthy. It's like, not as much as us. You did Dancing with the Stars and finished last night.
Yes.
What did you think about the winner?
I didn't know that Phil won because they did Emily and Phil. They shot that. And so because I think they shot Emily first. So I was like, oh, Emily won to my family.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't say that's not allowed to, but whatever. And so I got a shock that Phil won. I thought they were hands down the most beautiful dancers. They really... You know, there's a thing that I had in Survivor, like a real hunger to win. Yeah. They had a hunger to win.
Oh,
and
good.
I loved seeing those two at the end. It was just perfect. It really was.
And I like Natalie Lowe.
I love her.
She just started following me and I got so excited. I was like, I've loved you for years.
I love that when it happens.
I used to work at Channel 7 in publicity, like in the noughties, in the early noughties. So I started the first worked on the first 4 seasons of dancing.
Yeah.
In publicity, and she was one of the dancers back then.
Wow, she's amazing.
She's incredible. Yeah. They are all incredible.
They were all such great people. That was fun. Getting to know just new people.
And you were so good. Can I just talk about your dancers?
Well, right. So I feel like a little bit. I felt like one of the Golden Girls, drunk, stumbling around on stage.
Good.
But I
How wonderful are the Golden Girls?
I love the Golden Girls.
Yes. Who doesn't want to be a Golden Girl? You did, and you know what? I wanted to say, you and Virginia and Mary, every season that I watch, I really love the actors that go in because of the way you get asked to do something by your dance partner and you'd like, yes, and there's this expressions on your faces that, you know, the sports people and the reality people, they
we enjoy it, I think, those little performative things.
Yes, it becomes that performance of, and I love the faces and everything, so I loved it. But I really liked the vampire.
We loved that. It was so hilarious. Declan and I found the whole vampire thing so unreal and hilarious, and we loved every minute of it. When I watched it back and I showed my daughter, who's 13, I went, are you going to need a day off school? She went, why? I went, it's a bit full on. It's a bit embarrassing. Mum running around like it's Twilight the movie. Yeah. And she was laughing. She's like, I'm fine.
I'm okay. What do your kids think of it?
They are, I hope this is a reflection on my good parenting. But maybe it's not. But they are completely disinterested.
Good.
Like,
that is a good
do not care.
Reflection, I think.
Lily loved getting photos of me all dressed up. The hair and makeup and costumes, and I'd show them little clips. They just weren't interested in sitting around and watching me on TV, and they really aren't at all.
Wow,
they're so supportive, but completely they wanted to watch the footy instead, and then reruns of Gumball.
Oh, I love it. What do they want to do with their lives when they grow up?
I don't know yet. My daughter Lily is she's really clever, and she's reflects my husband a little more in her personality. So she's really thoughtful. She's just really enjoying her life at the moment. And I think after 2 years of lockdown, to see her starting to shine, she's in year 8. She's got great friends. And for me, when I was young, I was so... My husband was the same. We were so driven.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a dancer, an actor. He wanted to be a musician. Right. So to see my daughter just enjoy her life.
Yeah.
And I asked her one day, and she said, I just want to go to uni and study something and work it out. And I'm like, that's great. And then my son's just enthusiastic about everything. So he wants to be a football player, a YouTuber.
Good.
A chef, and he wants to open a restaurant called Mum and Son.
With you?
God, I know. And I'm like, that's so sweet, but I don't want to work in a restaurant.
No. Just be on the name.
And he wants to live
Just be
down
the mum
the road.
on the title.
Yeah.
And my brother always wanted our family to live in a cul-de-sac when we all grew up.
Oh, that's so cute.
Well, for me, creepy, but yes, cute. It's like,
he's like that.
Boys. Mm-hmm. Boys are so much more... the patriarchy absolutely riles me up because
boys need the mamas.
They are so sensitive, and they're not allowed to be. And like I watch my father and my brother who were only ever allowed to show aggression in the only emotion they were ever allowed, and kind of encouraged.
It's weird,
and supported.
Isn't it?
Like, my brother used to come home from a pub, and especially if my dad had his mates over, they would connect by Matt telling a fisticuff story.
Right.
And they'd be like, yeah, tell it again. It's like, and yet my brother can't deal with half of the things that I can deal with emotionally.
And it's important when you've got a son to talk about that stuff and encourage it, and also to allow him to see also his father be vulnerable. I think is really important. So to just try and bring him up as a human being and not, there is a difference sometimes when you instinctively, when you've grown up, when we grew up, your daughter falls over and you're like, oh, sweetie, and your son falls over. You'll be right. You don't. Those little things can change them, and so you have to really be careful.
Yes.
And he's a sensitive little soul, and it makes me happy.
Do you notice a real difference, like where he is at school, as far as other kids go, like then compared to how we grew up?
Yeah, I think so. I think I didn't grow up around that many boys, so... My daughter's at an all-girls school, which she really loves. She really wanted to go to an all-girls school.
I think all-girls... I wish I'd gone to an all-girls school. I was so distracted by boys, and not even distracted like, ooh. It was, I'm not doing sport in front of them because I was a fat child as well. So getting in a sports uniform was extremely...
All those body shape things are full on when you're at that age, because you're always changing and lumps and bumps are coming and going.
And even if
periods can be unpredictable.
All of it. And you just should not be... I would just say no to so many things because boys were watching.
100%.
That I missed out on so many things. And I think even just let us be with our own.
Yeah, she really chose that, and I can see her thrive in that environment, and I understand that environment. So for him, he's still in high school, and he does have a lot of female friends, which I find great.
Yeah, good.
I'm glad he's one of the boys that the girls like.
And is there much... how old is he? 8?
He's 9. So he's in grade 4.
Okay, so at that age, is there much queerness going on at early?
No, I don't think so. And because my kids, their godparents are my best friend and his boyfriend. So, and they come and stay, and they've got a child. So they're very much around all of that. And we've always talked about, just if you want to talk about anything, it's just being gay or heterosexual is no difference to us. And they know they've grown up in that kind of environment. So I still feel like with boys, you just kind of need to keep bringing it up, though, because I have heard some things sometimes where he said, well, so-and-so said so-and-so's gay. And I'm like, great. But, that's not a bad thing. Remember, your godfather and his boyfriend. And he goes, I know. And then I like the fact that I've asked my daughter at some point, I said, if you were, when she was younger, I said, if you were gay, would you be scared to tell me anything?
Yeah.
And she looked at me and she said, why?
Oh, good.
And I just almost cried because I thought it was foreign to her that if you were a lesbian or bisexual, that it was a thing that you would be embarrassed about or not want to tell your parents. And I said to her, well, in my day, it was a big thing, and I grew up with actors who were told to stay in the closet because no one would believe them as a romantic lead. And a lot of those beautiful actors stopped acting. It's just too much.
That is
It's
awful.
awful. And I said to her, that's the world I came from, and I'm so happy that you're in a new world. And I've asked my son the same thing, and he's like, I don't know, I could marry a boy or a girl, just very freely. And I just think that stuff it means a lot to, I think, our generation who grew up around people who were teased
closeted and
all of that stuff.
Made to feel ashamed about themselves.
Yeah.
I just had a friend who she has twin boys and a younger boy, and they're all teens now. And she said one of the twins has just come out, and I'm like, what do you mean come out? Like, he's gay, like always. And she said, no, he used to say to me, I'm not going to be your gay son, Mummy. I'm not going to be that one that you think I'm going to be. And it was really clear to everyone who he was. But I actually said to her, fantastic, really glad, for him. I said, but, I'd really love to see a day where we don't come out.
I have said that.
Like, I never had to come out. Did you?
No, I think that's the thing. Like, we don't want to live in a world where it has to be a conversation, where you have to make a moment of coming out. Because there's still that thing in my mind where, is that still saying, well, there's a point of difference, or I just think that's the place we want to get to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that whole, I guess, gender fluidity and whatever, like being who you truly believe you are, where it's not questioned. It's just, we are who we are. And sometimes that changes.
Oh, totally.
As well.
I mean, I've never seen myself as a truly heterosexual woman.
No, me neither.
I just think I just meet someone I like, and then that's where it goes from. But even me as a woman in my 50s, I couldn't have felt as comfortable to say that 30 years ago. I had a few friends when I was young who were like, you're a lesbian.
Yes.
Like, no,
I
don't care.
Well,
like,
we didn't have the labels back then.
I don't know.
As well. There's the whole, you can't say anything anymore. Oh God, everything's got labels. It's like, thank God we've got labels. Like, we don't just, we can say who we are and use language for that. Isn't that a wonderful thing? I don't know why. Like, did you see the Yumi Stimes book this week?
I saw, actually, really, my heart broke when I saw the post she put up about all the bullying, because I've had that when I played Survivor.
Did you?
And it just...
What, as a woman playing Survivor?
As a woman who made some ruthless cutthroat choices. And there was one that I made that two boys made with me.
Yep.
And they did not... I rang them because I love those boys. And I'm like, you okay? Not one. I think I had thousands.
No way.
Thousands.
So that was Harry the ice cream guy.
Yeah, and Baden.
Yeah,
who I love. And they still come and stay with me.
I know. I saw recently you had a sleepover the three. Oh, God, I love this.
And that's the moment that it really clicked for me. That I went, big difference. Wow, okay. And I would go through, the other folder.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, don't look at it.
Don't look at it.
It would be people honestly threatening to maim and kill me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just play Survivor, dude. Like,
I
think abusing someone online is a bit worse than making a vote on Survivor.
Well, I can't believe how much it takes to get these people held accountable for.
Right.
Like, Yumi's just had a young, I think he's 25 or 23-year-old man who's been arrested for using a carriage system to threaten someone's life.
Right.
So, and that's just happened, I think, yesterday.
Okay.
But just the post she put up, why aren't they all being held, arrested for saying something that they could follow through with?
Exactly. And I think that it's easy a lot of people go, well, you're in the public eye, you should cope with it, you shouldn't have to cope with it.
Never.
This is one of the very few areas where the abuser really defends their right to abuse, and it's the onus is on the victim to just deal with it. And I don't think that's okay. And I hope she's okay, because...
Well, she said in that post, please don't worry about me, because I do have a really great support system around me, really great people, which is everything, which is what it's all about.
Yeah.
But she said, it's the people like in Big W who are having being in person threatened.
It's terrible.
Like, imagine being an 18-year-old worker and someone like those. We live in a bubble, and my friends and I say this all the time, how you go, what was it, my friend? I went to Splendour. She said it was very white. And I went, oh, God, okay. She said we really do live in these urban little bubbles of sexuality, gender and race as well, where we don't see just how much the hatred, and it's really, riled up. And then we get like Twitter, who has a new owner who is just so hateful and allows so many awful things. And so Yumi's saying, worry about those kind of kids, the kids who work in a regional Big W store 100%. Who don't even know what they're talking about.
For anyone who's had a job like that, you're not getting paid a lot. You don't need to be putting up with people's nonsense. But
no.
I think there is a sense of, I know, I speak a lot about this stuff because I went through it. And
your charity on Dancing with the Stars was for Dolly's
Dream, which is an incredible charity, and they have a lot of resources for people actually in rural communities.
Thank God. And I'm really glad that you highlighted that because that is so needed.
It's so important. A lot of my family lives around the Bendigo area and in Charlton and rural communities where there isn't a lot of support for young people. So they are making a difference, and I hope that they get more attention and that they, get more funds because it's such a great charity. But I think also they do spread this message of kindness, that kindness is something we should be working towards. So I think a lot of people think, well, the internet's bolted, let's just let it go. And it's like, well, we like that with smoking too.
Yeah, exactly. And seatbelts once as well.
Maybe we can make this as socially unacceptable as smoking in a restaurant is now. We can do it. And it is important because this stuff, I don't want to trigger anyone, but this stuff is life-threatening for people. And so
it's life or death. A lot of the time.
We need to address it.
Well, I'm glad that you are. And Dolly, that story just annihilated me.
It's awful.
It was, and there's just too much of that going on. And
I met her parents when I was doing dancing, so they came and met me, and it was a really special day.
So hard.
Yeah,
so hard. Now, your new show, which is coming out, Heat. I'm really excited because I love these kind of shows.
So I love these really dramatic
4-episode kind of English Australian, I just
sort of soapy, crazy. And I love them too.
Yes. Yep. What can you tell us about that?
I can tell you, it's it's almost a four-hander. There's other characters, but it's about two couples who meet up in a beautiful house. And they get trapped by a bushfire, and their kids are there.
It's a great premise.
Their kids are there, and it's it's a pressure cooker. As the bushfire is encroaching, the pressure cooker of these relationships that are unfolding, and there's lots of drama and lots of deception. It all sort of unfolds through each episode, and it's pretty dark, but it's great, and there are great actors in it. We had such a great time. We've got Danny Dyer, who's a huge star in England, so he was on EastEnders.
Yes,
I didn't know who he was, but then we would.
Yeah, I've never really watched EastEnders.
We would go out and people would be like, oh my God, screaming and crying. And I'm like, oh, you might be a big deal, Danny. And then Jane Alsop, who's such an incredible actress, and Darren McMullen, who plays a very good...
He's really well gone into the
I don't
crossover.
give much away, but he's very well cast. He does a really good job.
Oh, good. Well, he was on Celebrity Apprentice.
Yes.
And
were you on there with Janine?
No. Oh,
you didn't do it, no.
No, I watched, and he
was good.
He was amazing, but I was like, God, I'm glad I'm not, he would have driven me insane.
Yes.
I don't think he ever stops talking. No, but God, he was what I would think, as you're watching things knowing, you're watching it. I used to just watch TV and then just be a goggle boxer, but now I'm on TV. I look at the edits really completely differently.
Yeah.
Think, he would have driven me insane. He would have driven me insane. But an editor's and producer's dream.
Yes,
As far as, can you tell us what's just happened, Darren? He would be like, right, well, I did this and this and this. And she was like, yes, this is... I was the worst person for that kind of thing.
And that is the problem I had, because if you've got a very strong type A personality, huge, confident, you're going to get a great edit, regardless of who you are. And so for... the rest of us who are a bit more low-key, we can be a bit boring. Yeah,
I'm dreadful at that. Can you, Yvie, can you say that, but can you say his name rather than and I'm like,
present tense.
I was dreadful at that kind of thing. Now you've already done Heat, so that's coming out. Yeah. What's next?
Well, I've got I'm editing. I wrote a book, so
Yes.
I'm editing that, and they just sent me so much work to do. So I think I've got about 2 weeks. I've got to sit on my computer and try not to cry.
So it's something about Vegemite, and
It's mostly a memoir. So
I can't wait to read a memoir
but
about
I just
you.
got all these emails, and that's what I was doing in the car when you saw me, and I just thought, I'm so glad I'm doing this. I've got so much work to do. But I've had a busy year, so I do like to take time off and just be with kids.
Yes,
You know?
and it's important. I'm really
Yeah.
glad that you do that, because there's people that are workaholics and,
Yeah.
I watched the Whitney movie.
Oh, was it good?
Which is, it's another one. They've done one telly movie, this, I guess, biopic, and they did the documentary. The documentary is the best.
Right.
Because it touches on the abuse that made her turn to drugs later in life. But
like to
this
see that,
movie
actually.
touches on her being with her best friend. Like, it was right out there. It's right out there. And I'm like, oh, finally, yeah. Like, so she was with Robin. Like, they really were together. You know, Bobby Christina
I know.
died like a year or something
Later.
after her. And that whole, what she saw, her mum and dad, and her mum, her whole family, she was, not just family, everyone around, she was a cash cow for, and they used her like an ATM. And she had no idea what her father had done as far as her money was went. So she had to then go and try to recoup everything. And Bobby Christina was just, being dragged on stage and dragged along, or just because so she could be close to her mum.
Yep.
And I just think, oh, my God, breaks my heart. So I'm so glad that your kids don't give a shit about what you do.
They don't
in
care.
that way. They're just like, you're just my mum.
Yeah, and they
that's
do.
so cool.
And I do. Look, I'm happy that I'm having, footy season's almost over. I'm not going to lie. It's a lot. That is a lot, standing in the cold every Sunday
I don't
for
know
2.5 hours.
Well, we were talking about a mutual friend before, Heidi Arena, who we just adore, and we send each other videos to each other. As the voice messages.
Yes.
Well, we do videos to each other, so we do like double chin and everything. And she will be like in the car because she's like, I'm out and I can't stand outside at the moment.
I've hidden in the car so many times.
So many times. I used to be a nanny and I used to hide in the car, and they go, you can't do that. I'm like, I can. That's.
But now you have to go out every quarter and pretend that you were watching. I hope my son won't listen to this. And then run out. Great. It's been great.
You
Such
did
a good game.
Such a good kick you did once.
He's really into AFL. So AFL's on in the mornings and then afternoons all weekend.
Oh, my God. That's a lot.
he
What
just
does your
loves
daughter
it.
play?
She plays netball.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And she
Good.
plays tennis for fun.
Good.
But she
And are
really
they
enjoys
both,
netball.
either of them creative?
I think so. She's really artistic.
Yeah.
And he's quite musical.
Yeah.
But we're just sort of letting them find their own path.
Oh, yeah, good.
Because
Good.
I think he plays drums a little bit, so
Great.
he's got a really beautiful singing voice.
He has?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so
Sounds like
good. So your husband has a beautiful singing
He's a
voice.
beautiful voice. He sings. He's got a husky little blues voice. And he sings
Does he
blues songs.
perform much?
My husband doesn't. He was around in the 90s, 2000s, and it wasn't the best time to be signed at big record companies.
No.
And I don't think that he had a great time.
No, I can
It crushed his
imagine.
spirit a little bit. So he's still really talented, and he still does play music around the house, and he actually has songs that he's recorded, and they just are sitting there for now. And I think a little bit lately he's been like, maybe I should just put them out, because the world's changed now where you don't need those record companies to put out your music.
God,
you
no.
can just let them go. So
I think we should start getting him to do little gigs at pubs and things
I
on a Sunday, and we'll make a little TikTok about him, and then we'll get,
Exactly.
a little cult following, old cult following coming back.
people
And
message me all the time about him.
yes,
And I loved your husband. I
Yeah,
show him
me
'cause
too.
it makes him happy.
Me
I show him, look, this woman said she had a crush on you.
yeah. Well, their big single.
Yeah.
What was the band called?
Motel.
That's
Yeah.
their big single. My nephew and I really bonded over that song. We just
Nice.
listen to it over and over and over again.
We
and
met
so,
because of that song.
is it? What? Oh, you were on the video clip?
Yeah. Yeah, he saw me on a popcorn box and thought he does like an Italian woman. And I am afraid to take him to Italy, so I think he'll realise I'm not that special. I'm like on every street corner. Here, he's like, she's amazing.
She's special.
Go to Italy, like, I didn't even get one of the good ones.
Oh, he did. He did. But, I know exactly. Like, live in Dolce Vita, imagine.
Right. He asked to have me on that film clip, and then we met and we hung out for a long time, and then, we got married very quickly.
That's so good.
And, we're still together.
I love that you're still together. Yeah. And are you still just enamoured with him?
It's funny, we were having a chat the other day because when you've been together for a really long time, you have to weather lots of ups and downs.
Yeah.
So you have big ups, big downs.
You know what Oprah says? It's the strength of character about someone that you end up staying in love with, and it's how you watch them deal with the big things.
It's true. That's true, actually.
And Will Ferrell also said if you really want to get to know someone, turn the Wi-Fi off and see how they react.
That's a good idea.
How they deal with like if they have a meltdown or not. It's strength of character, isn't it? If they can weather the bad shit.
Yeah, and I think it's also something about your connection. So when if we've ever been through a down patch or, there's never been a day where I haven't been desperate for him to come home. Like I love that. And I always say that to him. I'm always texting him, when do you finish? When do you finish? When do you finish? I always want him to walk through the door, and I always get excited after 20s, whatever years that he's come home.
That's real.
Then he leaves his shit around and it annoys me.
And I'm
like, get out of here. But that's a big thing, I think.
Yeah.
And, I remember when after Survivor, I had a huge vitiligo outbreak.
Yeah, I remember.
It is, it was been great in the sense that it changed the way I looked at the world, but there was a point when I had a huge white patch on my forehead, and I had huge white patches all over my cheeks, and half my eyebrows went grey. And
that's autoimmune, isn't it?
It's autoimmune. My mum has alopecia, so that's in my family. And I remember just, there were so many days when I looked in the mirror and I just didn't recognise myself. Yeah. It was intense. But he just did not see it. He did not see it, and I knew he didn't see it. And he went, I just think you're beautiful. I think it's cool. And he wasn't just saying that. And he even now says, I just didn't care. You just look beautiful to me. And that's really quite amazing.
Yeah, really wonderful.
Because part of having, whether it's vitiligo or alopecia, is about the world reminding you that you are beautiful, because you are. We're not beautiful just because we fit into a box. Yep. I follow heaps of people with vitiligo on my Instagram now, and I just think they're the most incredible looking people.
That's
because
I'm supermodel.
Because
next level stunning.
And because when you see that stuff, like, visibility is everything. So to have people remind you that because you just look a little different and you're still beautiful is really important.
It is so great, and to have, children being brought up by a man that thinks that way is really, really important. Yeah. Oh, I love him even more now.
Yeah. You can borrow him whenever he
annoys
please.
Me. Thank you. Whenever he annoys you. I have alopecia.
Oh, you do?
And I wear toppers.
Yep.
And
is it just areata or?
Yeah. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's really, just like any autoimmune. You know what it's like.
Yep.
But my friend's daughter has it at 13, and it's completely bald, right. And the outpouring is so wonderful of people who've told her how beautiful she is.
Does she have eyelashes and?
Yeah, I think it's all. No, yeah.
I think the internet's good for that stuff because it is hereditary.
Yes.
So I have to face the fact that I might have to deal with it with my children.
Yeah, and that's great that they get to see you and how you're being treated by the people around you in the world, and how you're dealing with it, and what is important and what isn't important.
My mum has got alopecia. She had complete alopecia, but she did regrow eyebrows and eyelashes, which she said that was actually the main thing.
Yeah.
Because you get so much dust in your eyes.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Weirdly, she said that she lost everything except the hair on her toes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the vagina hair. That would be mean.
Hairy toes. She said I was left with hairy toes. So that's just really a cruel trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know the same with you is that it comes and goes.
It comes and goes, yeah. I got my eyebrows done, so, everything else is just patchy, like it fills in the rest. But the toppers, there was a woman that I get my toppers from, Tammy Lobato, and she's in Heidelberg and Berwick, and she just deals with these women all the time. And it is such a, it's like who you are, your hair and everything. But then you realise it's not
Yep.
It's not at all. Your skin is not who you are.
And the more model, I mean, I know it sounds silly to talk about models, but the more models we see, the more actors we see with alopecia, vitiligo,
disabilities. Just more of it. And plus size models, different size
100%.
bodies, like really different size bodies, different types, heights, all of it. The more, the better. Bring it on. I could talk to you all day.
Get a banh mi now. I'm going to go get a banh mi now.
Go get a banh mi. You must. Thank you so much for being my other girl on Two Girls One Pod. I just absolutely adore you, and I can't wait to Channel 10. I'm a little bit annoyed because we did ask for screeners for Heat, and we didn't get them. Did we, Rach, our producer?
It's already screened in England.
I know.
Oh my God, I haven't seen it. I did an interview the other day, and she was like, "It's great." I'm like, "That's good. I haven't seen it."
I often interview people that haven't seen their own shows yet. It's well, I can't wait.
The kids
to
won't be watching that. It's a little bit sexy.
It starts on the 27th, I think.
Oh, does it?
I don't know.
No one told me.
I don't even know. I think it is. I think it's pretty soon. So everyone needs to watch it. Watch Pia do her acting thing. More reality for you?
I've got to stop being a contestant on reality shows for a while. But I still watch it.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I never say never.
And just keep acting because you're such a talent. I mean, obviously, keep acting, you're going to. But thank you for acting because you're such a talent. And I absolutely love your range. It's just so great. Thank you so much for
Thank you for having me. It's been so nice to get to know each other properly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. If you liked this episode, rate, subscribe, do the things that you do. 5 stars only. Otherwise, why? What are you born for? Anyway, I'll be in your ear holes next week with another girl on Two Girls One Pod.